the imbalances that we have seen in the world has been due to women having their voices silenced. And so, as we have been able to tell our stories, I find that the healing that is needed is happening, and the strength and the courage that is needed to progress forward is happening. And so, this platform, Women Thrive, can speak to that testament of where we are. And this is life changing. Where we are now as women, we won't go back. This definitely is much needed. And this is the platform that will contribute to so much healing and so much forward progress that we are making as women. So I'm grateful to be a part of that.
Welcome to Women Thrive podcast. This is where you'll get to hear incredible stories of female entrepreneurs, business owners, women from all walks of life. Myself, Raymond Jan, and my co-host Abigail will be interviewing incredible women, hearing inspiring stories of women from all around the world. I have no doubt that you will find something that will be life-changing for you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us for our future episodes.
Hello and welcome to today's podcast episode with one of our incredible guests and authors from the Women Thrive Anthology book, Stacie Ford. Hi, Stacie. How are you? Where are you joining us from today?
I'm great. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. So on the other side of the world from you.
Amazing. Are you excited about today's interview?
I am. I am. So it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And today we're talking about wow in resilience and really talking about our stories of overcoming adversity. And as I said, today's guest is Stacie Ford, who is an author within the Women Thrive Volume 3 book. And I'm so excited to have this conversation. This is going to be really an exciting and deep conversation. So get ready to get to know our author behind the scenes, the woman who has wrote a chapter in our book. It's such a beautiful chapter. And I just want to say, Stacie, congratulations on having the courage to share your story in the way that you have. And her chapter is called Embracing the Highs and Lows of Existence, Ever-Ending New Beginning. And really encapsulates a lot of the stories actually shared within the Women Thrive book of us overcoming adversities, of reinventing ourselves, and really finding new purpose and even purpose within our pain and struggles. So, what an incredible conversation that we're going to be having today. And I want you to meet Stacie Ford, who's a resilience alchemist, a visionary business finance coach dedicated to empowering women entrepreneurs. With her own unique blend of alchemy and mindset transformation, Stacie helps her clients unlock hidden financial blocks and achieve unparalleled freedom for their businesses and their lives. So she uses integrated approach to combine ancient wisdom with modern financial strategies, guiding women not only to thrive, but to transform their ventures into prosperous, liberated enterprises. So I'm excited to get to know a little bit more about Stacie's journey, story, and how you really got here. So welcome, Stacie, to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Tell us a little bit more about what propelled you to share your story with the world and why you wanted to really speak your truth and put your story out.
I wanted to share my story because I've had a lot of adversity. I've been very successful, but I've had a lot of adversity. And I realized that at every turn at those little moments of adversity, I've always managed to overcome them. And they've always elevated me to a higher level of understanding and greater purpose for myself. And so my story really is about going through a reinvention of myself. I'm a former nurse, always a nurse to heart, still have my license and able to practice. But I found myself having to let go of that identity of being a nurse, a career that I worked very hard for because of some health crisis. And I had to totally redo my life. And so I'm in my 40s. I'm not a spring chicken. And so that can be very daunting to have something that you have worked so hard for and to have it completely shifted and taken away, and you don't know what that next chapter looks like. And so I found myself really wanting to share my story with women because women are so resilient, right? And that's part of my story. I consider myself woven in resilience. We are so resilient in our ability to transform and ascend what is going on around us, what's going on in our lives and our families, different transitions. I find that women have a really unique capability of bouncing back. And so I wanted to be able to share what that looks like because it's not an easy thing to overcome, but it's definitely something that is very possible. So I wanted to be able to share what that looks like and what that did for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so inspiring to read women's stories like yourself who, through the circumstances of life and quite serious health matters, and you've shared how you were quite knocked down. And through that, you actually, as I said, reinvented yourself.
Mhm.
And to me, it's just saying what's possible for us as women when you really step into your purpose and you find new meaning. And in this book, we share stories of loss, identity loss, loss of our children, and big reinvention, and a lot of stories around health. Is there a particular area that you really would like to touch on when it comes to maybe perhaps your story or a message that comes from the book and also your chapter?
I really want to touch on what it feels like to think that your purpose is going one way and through trials and tribulations and different things that you may encounter, you find a whole new purpose. And that was my story. And that is my story. I just knew for years and years and years that I wanted to help people. And so I was instantly drawn to healthcare, and I was a natural at it. I've always had people that I've taken care of. I still keep in touch with patients that I took care of years ago, and they were just like, "You're just a natural at this." And so I never imagined that something that came so naturally to me would be something that no longer fit with who I was. And it was a shell shock when I had to totally let that go because health wise, I could not do it anymore. And I just couldn't understand what was happening. And it totally led me into a very deep depression because not only had my career changed, I had health issues that kept me bedbound for almost 2 years.
Mm.
And so, as a young woman, this was before I reached 40, that was devastating to me. I have children, I have a husband, I have a full household. And for me, it was just like, well, what do I do? This isn't what I signed up for. This doesn't look right for me. I had been healthy in the gym, eating well, taking care of myself. So I did all the prerequisites to maintaining health, but sometimes things happen that you don't quite have control over. So, being diagnosed with a life altering disease really threw some things off for me. And just when I thought I had it under control, I was hit with another health concern. And so that completely ended my nursing career. So for me, it was really about overcoming those obstacles and understanding that, you know what, this is putting me into a different alignment. Maybe health was what my chapter was then, but this has put me into a totally different area of my life that this may be a new purpose for me. And so we have to understand what I had to understand that I can have numerous purposes. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, some things happen, a reason, a season, a chapter. That was that chapter then. And what I was going through in my life during that time was very challenging and helped me to find a new purpose because I had to reinvent myself for myself. This reinvention didn't come because I said, oh, I want to start a new business. I want to do something different. I was going through health crisis, financial crisis, mental health crisis, emotional crisis, and I had to figure out a lot of things very quickly. And so I had to be very adaptable. And in that finding out some things for myself, how to deal with no longer having a full-time income and having sudden changes in that dynamic. I had to figure out, okay, well, what am I going to do to pull myself out of this? Because I can't work. I don't know what else to do. That's the skill set that I've been in for so long. And I can no longer do that at that capacity.
Yeah.
And so through me trying to figure out what I needed for myself, I found a new passion in finances, which that's like totally separate, like
Yeah.
healthcare, finances, where does that meet? But that's my path. And for a while, I kind of suffered with some imposter syndrome around that. But I had to realize that the thing about when you don't know, when you're afraid of learning something new, it's not that you are an imposter. It's something that you're not familiar with. And so as I learned what I needed to learn to help myself in that situation, I learned that, oh, well, this is something that I really am passionate about and I want to help other people. So I found that I was totally aligned with a new passion and a new purpose through what I had gone through.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible to find something so different than what you used to do and really find a new passion, as you say, like get lit up about it. But
Mhm.
obviously, it took a journey to get there. Did you find that also maybe your childhood experiences or past experiences with money and maybe the stories we've been told was a big part of that also overcoming and self-empowerment and its new reinvented self?
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is actually one of my sticking points of when I'm working with clients and coaching is that I work with a financial blueprint and I had to understand my own financial blueprint and where did that come from. And so as I'm learning about, okay, things with money and things with finances, I'm learning that, wow, this is something that I didn't know as a kid. And I had to really go back and understand where did the concepts of how I learned about finances really come from? Well, it came from my parents and they only know what they know, right? So they just gave me what they knew. And so a lot of the blockages that I experienced in my mind, my total being about money and things of that nature were things that I adopted from my parents, that they adopted from their parents. And so a lot of the ways that I thought about those things, yes, those were definitely formed in me as a kid. I can remember I would correlate it, even though I was making good money as per se as a nurse, I was always very apprehensive about things. And those really showed up when I was not working and there was not that income coming in all the time. And I was really kind of scared about how that looked. I really wanted to get to the emotional part of that and the mental part of that of why am I so afraid of
Mm.
money? And then I could recall watching my mother be afraid. I can recall my mom worrying about things all the time or getting a bill in the mail and she'd be worried about how it was going to be paid. Even though she and my father worked every day, even though they we had everything that we needed, there was this constant energetic of scarcity of not having enough. And so that transferred on to me. It was like, even though I'm making this money, I just feel like it's never enough. And so it became so prevalent when I wasn't working because I couldn't say, okay, hey, let me go and pick up an extra shift. Let me go and do this. Let me go and do that. It became so prevalent. And I really wanted to get to the meat and the potatoes of why. And so as I learned about how to get better with my money, because I had to at this point, again, I wasn't working. I didn't know what my next phase was going to look like. I didn't know what it looked like anymore. And so I have to learn how to manage things now from a different perspective. So, what does that look like? And why am I so apprehensive about it? I started to look at it from a point of curiosity as rather than fear. I was curious. So it led me down a path of really studying the psychology of money. So I took it a step beyond that. I wanted to know I always heard that money is energy, right? It's an energy exchange. And I wanted to know what does that look like? What does that pertain? Like, what do you mean it's an energy? So I wanted to understand. So as I began to get a different mindset about how things work with money and get all of those barriers out of the way of understanding that my mental blocks was blocking how my money came in. And so then I started to understand that and I was like, okay, okay, this makes more sense. And I just became like a sponge because money is one of those types of things that so many people struggle with. And it's really, really, really ingrained in us to fear money. And
Mm.
I wanted to really understand why is that? And how could I help other people not have a fear of it? And again, you fear what you don't know, right? So I jumped right into wanting to become financially literate. I took courses in that. I became licensed in different areas. I'm licensed in several areas of finance. So I'm not just kind of winging this thing, right?
Yeah.
So I did that in the midst of this health concern. I sat down and I took courses. This was all during COVID. I took courses online on how to learn about these things. And as I got good with my money, I decided, okay, well, this is something that I really want to help with because I understand what that stress felt like. It drove me to the point of really being in a very depressed state to where I no longer wanted to live. I was didn't have a job anymore, didn't have that purpose, that drive anymore. And then I'm looking at my bank accounts and everything is I'm just like, well, what do I, what do I do? And I was just to the point where I was like, I either have to fix this or I don't want to do this anymore. And so I decided the first to fix it, to really get curious about where I was and to not look at it from a point of this is the final destination. This could actually be something that really can take you to another level.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
glad that I did.
Well, we sure are.
Yeah.
It's incredible, this whole journey that you've talked about of really facing your blockages and facing our own limitations in a way of what's possible. And in the face of
Mhm.
adversity, you had two options, or so you thought. These are my two options. I want to let go. And it was a real possibility of letting go. And in fact, you were planning for it, right?
Mhm. I planned to take my life. I did. Again, it was more than it was beyond the money, but the money I feel like was the icing on the cake. So I had some health crisis and had some surgeries and was bedbound and was not able to walk. And so that was almost 2 years of my life. And every day I just became more and more helpless, more and more hopeless, more and more just in this deep state of depression. And in that, it was just like I said, the finance was just the icing on the cake, and it was just like, you know what? Okay, I am going to end this, but I want to make sure if I'm my doctors are telling me there's nothing else we can do, you're just going to have to live with this in chronic pain every single day and take all these medications and whatnot. I said, well, at least I can do my husband the favor and my children the favor of making sure that I leave them okay. And so this started off with me reviewing my life insurance policies because I was like, okay, well, let me look and see what the circumstances are. I had heard things if you commit suicide or something, your family doesn't get the benefit. So I wanted to know how that works. So I looked through everything and I was like, okay, well, I think I can, that'll be okay. And let me try to figure out how I can not leave him in such a mess. Like I had a plan and I'm so grateful that I didn't. Some things transpired to keep me from going through with that plan. But yes, I had a plan because I just felt that what else was there? If you're living every day with tons of medication and every day looks the same and you kind of feel like every day you get out of bed, you're going to be in pain. You're it just got to be so daunting. But in the midst of all that, while I was researching how to make sure that I left my family financially as secure as possible, that's when a light bulb started to spark. And I was like, well, let me read about this. I never understood how this worked anyway. And then I just would kind of read every day while I was in bed. And okay, well, maybe I can learn some more about that. And I found that because I was always a person that liked to learn things, and I had been in this state of just kind of hibernation where I wasn't doing anything. this gave me a new purpose of having something that kept my mind kind of busy. And so I'm like planning kind of weirdly, I'm planning out how I'm going to leave my family financially okay. And I'm learning about what this looks like, how to get my money together. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is something I can like get together even on a different level and do some more things. And as I continue to learn, I said, okay, well, maybe I can actually turn this into something that I can do from home. Again, this is during pandemic time. So I'm like, okay, well, this is something that I can actually do. It doesn't require me to go into a facility. I can do this from home. And so it just kind of led to, okay, well, I'll get this certification or I'll get this license. And that kind of actually helped draw me out of that depression because it gave me something that kept my mind busy and it gave me something to do. And it went from being a need of making sure that I got my family okay and made sure I left them okay financially to, okay, well, now I think this is something that I can actually reinvent and turn into a career. And that's what happened.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Your story is just
That's
such a phenomenal story, really, to be
mhm,
bedbound,
mhm,
full of medications and pain,
mhm,
and almost to heal yourself through finding your new purpose and new
mhm.
drive and new opportunity. And I mean, it was almost like a blessing in disguise to have that time. I mean, how often do we really have like 2 years to ourselves to do nothing out of life?
Absolutely. I say all the time, this has really been a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
And my mother asked me about that. She says, what do you mean, like a blessing in disguise? And I said, because so many blessings have come out of this that I never imagined. I found new purpose with my mental space. I found new purpose with my my vision, my goals. And I just really reawakened a part of me that I was probably laying dormant for a long time that I really am able to do and be whatever it is that I want to be. And I had put such a cap on who I was, what my purpose was. And that's the thing about when you're going through something where you're finding that you reinvent yourself. If you put yourself in the right place, if you put yourself in a mindset of curiosity, you realize that there are limitless possibilities. And I believe that when I started to get curious, that's when that light bulb went off for me that there's so many possibilities out here for you. You're not just limited to this one thing. I know it's crazy. You went to school and you went through a lot to get through nursing school, and oh my gosh, but there are other possibilities. And I just, okay, well, jump into it, see what it looks like. And my husband will tell you, I did many times classes sitting in bed with the background. No one know I'm sitting in bed. And I was learning and doing things online. And I was talking to clients from my bed online doing this. And I thought, you know what? Okay, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to make the very best of what is. And as I kind of took that attitude from where it was so, this is the end, I don't know what else I'm going to do. I've kind of pulled myself out of that. And my mind just started to click, 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 click. There are so many things you can do with this girl. There are so many opportunities that you can make happen for you and for other people. And so just being in that mind frame of curiosity opened me up to a whole new world.
Amazing.
It took the barriers off of you're only able to do this. No, you can do so much more. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's
I
been
love
the
that.
experience.
There's so many golden nuggets in this podcast, and I'm just like, oh my God,
Mhm.
so many golden gems in here. So, Stacey, would you please tell our audience the name of your organization now and the name of your business?
Yes, I have Divine Wealth Solutions, and it is purposely named Divine because I work with women. And I'm definitely in that energetic of divine feminine. I help women who are entrepreneurs. I business coach them in their finances. And so, what that looks like is as I was growing my business, I was understanding that one, I never owned a business before, so I didn't know how it worked, right? Nobody teaches you how to run a business, how to have your personal finances together, how to have your business finances together. And so what happens with a lot of women is their businesses are not as successful because they are limited in that space. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm learning about money. So I know I want to help people with money and their finances. But who really do I resonate with? And it was other women. So Divine Feminine turned into Vine Wealth Solutions. And so that's the name of my company.
I
So
love that. How do people connect with you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn more nowadays. I'm on Facebook. I actually have just started a YouTube channel. And so just Divine Wealth Solutions. And on my Instagram, I am the Divine Millionaire. So you can find me there.
The divine millionaire. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that you work
Beginning
with
to
women.
exist.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you work with women, and that whole word divine is just, to me, I don't use it. I use it sparingly because when you overuse certain words, they lose their meaning.
Mhm.
And I feel it's one of those words that you should be using it sparingly. And it really has a meaning for me, anyway, as a woman, as someone who is passionate about women empowerment and sharing women's stories and divine wealth, I believe, for women stands for so much wealth, like building not only legacy with your business, with your ideas, leaving legacy as we are with writing our stories and writing books,
Mhm.
but leaving a financial legacy for your children, which where it all really begun for you, leaving something behind. And
Mhm.
divine wealth is really like how we as a purposeful, driven, successful women can have it all, can create that balance between the personal finances and the business, which is really amazing that that's what you do. Yeah, I'm excited to see your chapter released into the world. The book is launching 20th of June. And if you are listening to this episode, make sure you head over to womenthrivesummit.com and meet our authors there. Sign up for the book. We also have an incredible authors summit. So whether you're watching this prior to the 20th of June and you'll get to watch our summit live or grab a replay, honestly, the stories that women are going to be sharing and the summit on our stage and the book mentors, and for you to really get to understand the behind the scenes of what it takes to write like a legacy piece, right? What it takes to write your story and step into your purpose in such a big way. And I think this is so inspiring both for leaders, entrepreneurs, business women, and men, and those who are aspiring their lives. They might be in the alley right now of their lives. They might be
Mhm.
struggling with something. And I say through the power of our stories and the book that you get to read, truthfully, you will find some stories within it that will resonate with you. It might
Absolutely.
not be the same story, it might not be the same background, and you may have not taken the same journey or pathway to get there, but you will resonate with some of the stories in the book 100%. So yeah, Stacie, you're gonna be in the volume 3, the next
Hey,
version
I'm
of
so
this.
excited. I'm so excited. The stories and the women are and that are authoring this volume 3 are absolutely amazing. So it is an honor and a privilege, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Very quickly, what was one of your highlight moments so far in this book authorship journey?
Oh my goodness. The rawness. The rawness of really sharing your story. Everyone has a story, right? And we, like you said, everyone has a story and something that someone else could resonate with. But listening to the other authors and their stories and the rawness and the healing that has come forward from these stories. I have more chapters to tell. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And their stories have been some of my stories,
Yeah.
some of their experiences. And it gives me the courage to say, you know what? I experienced that and I pushed through and some of the things that I buried very, very deeply. And it's been healing to just read their stories and look how they have overcome so many things and how they've transformed themselves and how beautifully they have responded to what's been going on in their lives. Like you said, there's been some medical things, there's been child loss, there's been stories of sexual trauma, and just reading their stories, I kid you not, like I've had Kleenex and I've been wiping, and it's just been so cathartic for me to be able to connect with these women on such a personal basis. It has been a very beautiful journey. It truly has. And I thank you for it. This is what you are doing is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it's so needed at a time such as now, where women are truly finding their voices and they are truly speaking their truth. Because I truly believe that the imbalances that we have seen in the world has been due to women having their voices silenced. And I know that's part of your story. And so, as we have been able to tell our stories, I find that the healing that is needed is happening. And the strength and the courage that is needed to progress forward is happening. And so this platform, Women Thrive in the books and the magazines and all things Women Thrive, absolutely can speak to that testament of where we are. And this is life changing. Where we are now as women, we won't go back. And this definitely is much needed. And this is the platform that will contribute to so much healing and so much forward progress that we are making as women. So I'm grateful to be a part of that. Truly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When we heal ourselves and we heal the
Mhm.
world around us, I think we can make much bigger ripple effects. And something that you just said was quite profound. Like, we'll never be here again. We'll never be in this position. And whilst we're here, what I'm excited about what we do is we're capturing moment in time right now and the women's stories and experiences and what they're doing right now. We're documenting it as we go.
Mhm.
And there's a couple of threads actually in the book where, yeah, just crossovers and stamps in the moment, the
Mhm.
history and the now, and also the future. And I think all of us are so visionary to make an impact that I know beyond the book, we all have great pursuits ahead of us and speaking engagements and many more exciting things to do life-changing work by all of
Yeah,
us. That's what I'm excited about.
I'm excited as well.
I want to say thank you to our wonderful guest, Stacie Ford from Divine Wealth Solutions. So make sure you connect with her. All the information will be in the show notes. Of course, the Volume 3 Women Thrive book, inspiring true stories of women overcoming adversity. And you'll find a woman on the cover with a beautiful lotus flower, and it's in blue. So I hope you grab yourself a copy, a Kindle, a hard copy, and connect with our authors. They're all equally amazing. We have author series now here on podcast at Women Thrive. So enjoy the series, enjoy getting to know our authors, read their stories, connect with them. And I'm sure that you will be in some way, shape, or form impacted and inspired, truly. So, Stacie, thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you. I thank you so much.
Thanks all for listening. Make sure you share this episode with your audience, and we look forward to seeing you on another interview with one of our amazing authors from the Women Thrive book.
Thank you for tuning in to Women Thrive podcast. If you found today's episode empowering and inspiring, be sure to subscribe and follow us. Better yet, leave a review and share it with others. We're committed to bringing you more stories that will empower and inspire you on your own journey. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep pursuing your dreams.